The phone in your pocket right now has more computing power than every computer on Earth combined in 1969. That includes NASA's entire fleet, every university mainframe, and the machines that guided astronauts to the moon. 50 years ago, a single computer could fill an entire room, and it still could not do what your phone does before breakfast. The first general-purpose electronic computer, ENIAC, went live in 1945 at the University of Pennsylvania. It weighed 30 tons, filled a room the size of a small gymnasium, and ran on nearly 18,000 vacuum tubes. Those tubes burned out constantly, sometimes several a day, and a team of engineers spent hours just finding which one had failed. In 1947, engineers at Harvard found an actual moth stuck inside a relay of the Mark II computer, jamming the circuit. They taped the moth into the logbook and wrote, "First actual case of a bug being found." Computer bugs were, for one brief moment in history, an actual insect problem. Vacuum tubes needed to shrink before computers could leave the gymnasium. That happened in 1947 when three physicists at Bell Labs, John Bardeen, Walter Brattain, and William Shockley, built the first working transistor. A transistor did the same job as a vacuum tube, using a fraction of the space, the power, and the heat. It won the three of them a Nobel Prize, and it made every computer built afterward small enough to eventually fit on a desk. For 30 more years, computers still belonged to governments, universities, and large corporations. Regular people were not expected to own one, any more than they were expected to own a bank vault. That changed in January 1975, when a small company in Albuquerque, New Mexico, put a computer kit on the cover of Popular Electronics magazine. The machine was called the Altair 8800, and it cost $397 unassembled. It arrived as a box of parts you had to solder together yourself. It had no keyboard and no screen. You programmed it by flipping a row of tiny switches, one bit at a time, and reading the answer off a row of blinking lights. People bought thousands of them anyway. A 19-year-old Harvard student named Bill Gates saw that magazine cover and called the company the same week. He told them he had already written a programming language for the Altair, a small detail that was not true yet. Gates and his friend Paul Allen spent the next weeks writing that software without ever touching an actual Altair machine. Allen flew to Albuquerque to demonstrate it, and it worked on the very first try. That software deal became the founding contract of a company they named Microsoft. Meanwhile, in California, a young engineer named Steve Wozniak was showing off a computer he had built at meetings of a group called the Homebrew Computer Club. His friend Steve Jobs convinced him they should sell it. According to the story both men told for years, Jobs sold his Volkswagen van, and Wozniak sold his programmable calculator to raise the money to build the first batch. That first batch was the Apple one, assembled in the Jobs family garage in 1976 and sold for $666.66. Nobody remembers exactly why that price, though Wozniak has said he just liked repeating digits. The Apple II followed in 1977 with a case, a keyboard, and color graphics built in. It looked like something you could actually put on a desk in your living room, and for the first time, hundreds of thousands of people did. One visit changed the direction of the entire industry. In December 1979, Jobs toured a research lab called Xerox PARC in exchange for letting Xerox invest in Apple. Researchers there had already built something years ahead of anything on the market, a computer you controlled by pointing and clicking, with windows, icons, and a mouse. Xerox's own executives had mostly ignored the invention since the company made its money selling copiers and never saw itself as a computer company. Jobs reportedly said the demo felt like watching a car for the first time after only ever seeing horses. Apple built its own version of that idea into the Lisa in 1983, and then the Macintosh in 1984, introduced with a single television commercial that aired once during the Super Bowl. IBM, the largest computer company on Earth at the time, entered the personal computer race in 1981. To move fast, IBM outsourced the operating system to a small Seattle company instead of building one in-house. That small company was Microsoft, and the deal let Microsoft keep selling the same software to every other manufacturer that wanted to build a similar machine. IBM also used off-the-shelf parts anyone could buy, instead of a custom design only IBM controlled. Competitors reverse-engineered the machine within a year and started selling their own compatible versions for less money. Historians still call that deal one of the largest business mistakes any company has made, since it accidentally handed the entire industry's software layer to Microsoft for decades. By the mid-1980s, computers had gone from a hobbyist's soldering project to a fixture on office desks and in family living rooms. None of it looked like it would end there. Every computer sold today, from a laptop to the phone in your pocket, still runs on the same basic idea a moth interrupted in 1947, and a magazine cover sparked in 1975. A machine that once needed a gymnasium and 18,000 tubes now fits in a pocket, and needs neither an insect nor an accident to keep working.